Hi everyone, I'm Joe Dager of Business 901. I have been practicing lean in sales and marketing now for over a decade. And I still wonder if organizations ever take the time to identify the value lean will provide. Now, before moving on, what would be your company's business objective for using lean in sales and marketing? Jot that down before you start. There's maybe two stipulations. You cannot use the words effective or efficient in your description there, or your objectives. This is part one of 3 different segments on lean marketing. In the past, when talking to most organizations, they are looking for one thing and one thing only: to streamline sales. Work on the process. We're process people, right? We want to make things better, faster. Many lean consultants or trainers would approach the sales and marketing perspective from this view. They would apply it on a typical project-by-project basis to marketing activities like promotion and distribution. Extending the waste and cost-cutting focus of lean efforts to sales and marketing in an attempt to make their activities more efficient, more repeatable, and with less variation. Everyone knows the undisciplined and creative activities that define sales and marketing offers a rich treasure trove of cost savings when made more disciplined and structured. But does that allow lean or another method to grow market share or top line revenues? But to do those things, what do we need? We need metrics, right? Data. It is the process way of doing things. Now that we have big data, we have all the quantitative data we need and want, right? But what about the qualitative? And who best to collect that data than our salespeople? How many improvement initiatives for sales have just added layers of forms, procedures, meetings, and approvals for them? We want pull in lean, right? Or in lean sales. But is it operations pulling on that sales guy, or the customer pulling on operations? Or is it both pulling on the sales guy? Well, there's got to be an alternative, right, to all this? Some of us introduce lean to sales through a product development lens, that design thinking style. Maybe even lean 3P, lean startup, or another chapter from Ideate. I would even say there's further fragmentation among those disciplines where design thinking and Ideate is more human-centered and collaborative. Whereas lean 3P dives into internal development practices. Lean startup seeks product, service, market fit. I think all add a rather unique approach to lean thinking. And all of them are popular approaches in present-day lean sales and marketing. Maybe even more so than the typical process thinking I previously outlined. I actually think there are bigger issues. Many visualize that marketing cycle through the use of funnel thinking on how it narrows down to the actual purchase of the product. A linear approach to predict, plan, and proceed is a dangerous way to advance. This approach prematurely foresees a solution for the customer without ever understanding their needs. As we work our way down that funnel, it is just as likely evidence will mount that our proposed solution is wrong. However, we have so much invested, we attempt to sway the course of action in our favor. Linear planning actually increases the risk for a customer to engage in an inappropriate course of action. It is no more than a collection of sales activities. This approach was popularized when we had something we called demand. Funnels are useful tools to have a conversation about. But the truth is that more and more sales processes are unique to the customer. When I talk to sales and marketing folks, this is how many perceive lean. Value stream map my process, collect data for your improvement efforts, and we're just not sure who is pulling on who and who is pushing and the customer involved in all this. The message is not that any of these things are wrong. It is just both offer a prescription for success, a perceived outcome that if you do it my way, it will work. Often we lead with process. We lead with tools. The alternative may be to lead with thinking. Introducing lean thinking, we would probably start with the 5 core concepts of lean by Womack and Jones. As value is specified, value streams are identified, wasted steps are removed, and flow and pull are introduced, and we begin the process again and continue it until a state of perfection is reached in which perfect value is created with no waste. That may be our target, but in the mind of sales and marketing, it is a different current state. As a sales guy, I have a hard time identifying with all that before. When I'm thinking of value, I am thinking of what Theodore Levitt said 50 years ago. He would argue that people don't want to buy a drill, people want a hole in the wall. When sales guys look at value, they look at how a customer uses the product or the service, the job that needs to be done or that they've been hired for to do. When salespeople look at value streams, we're looking at how a customer arrives at their point of use, their decision process. When we think of flow, we are thinking on how easy it is for the customer to buy, to get a proposal, and the reliability of my company to meet market windows. Pull is about the agility and being adaptive. Is that not the promise of lean operations to sales? Less work in process, more agile, more flexible. Continuous learning. The company that can learn from their customer at a faster rate than the competition is the winner today. Perfection is constantly delivering value faster than your buddies down the street. Well, value, of course, depends on context. But if lean has delivered in your organization, it has created a strategic competitive advantage, not from the idea of better, faster, cheaper. Instead, lean should allow us to speculate, experiment, measure, and iterate forward. It is a method of learning and adapting faster than your competition. That's the promise of lean to sales. So to introduce the iterative process, lean thinking to sales and marketing, I do this by talking about Kaizen or continuous improvement, which of course is exemplified in PDCA, or as it has been called, the Short or Deming cycle. Ono, the guru of the Toyota production system, came along and says there's no improvement without a standard. So in essence, SDCA was created. Recently, as innovation, design thinking have become the buzzword of the day, Eric Ries created the Lean Startup. It was based on build, measure, learn. It was his idea that you develop a product and get it in the hands of the customer at its most minimum level and leave the customer to decide the value and expand on that. I can argue that I learned from a Toyota guru in Europe, Graham Hill. There was similar thinking within Toyota called explore, do, check, act. I like that a little bit better, as I believe that it offers a little broader perspective and guidance versus the build, measure, learn, thinking. So right or wrong, I base my lean thinking on these three principles: standardization, improvement, and exploration. PDCA is the glue. Without that mindset, it is difficult to traverse between the three, and I think all successful companies have a mixture of all three. Some may be more innovative, some may be more standard, but having a practice in place for each is what makes lean successful. And I agree that SDCA and PDCA and even the continuous mindset may not deliver breakthrough by themselves. However, like most things, you start one step at a time. The culture of innovation starts with a culture of continuous improvement. To start with breakthrough thinking is very difficult and risky. You cannot just turn it on, especially in established companies. So starting with PDCA and continuous improvement can be a successful way to create the little I culture. This allows for the culture to spread and create the DNA of the big I of innovation. I want to bring up an important point though. Those experienced in lean understand the process of PDCA. They understand it as a learning cycle, a hypothesis to be proven. People outside of lean often look at plan do through a project management type lens. It is that thinking of follow the plan, and as we waver off course, we make adjustments. But we all know most projects fail. I can cite statistics, but believe me, they're dismal. This is why in software they have taken more of that, using the Jim Highsmith words: speculate, explore, and refine role. They adjust as they learn versus thinking they know everything at the beginning. It is an area that I am sensitive when introducing lean to sales and marketing. We want to create an environment of learning, not one of staying on plan. We seldom accomplish plan do in a controlled environment within our internal structures. Why do we think we can do it externally where we don't have control? Peter Schultes appeared on stage with Dr. Deming. He later wrote the Team Handbook and the Leader's Handbook, which are two books that I still reference. I still encourage people to read them today. Peter said, "Sales and marketing has never been against systemizing the process. They have been against being systemized by the process." The fact is, there is not one part of your company that is more laden with processes and metrics than sales and marketing. What do you think they are thinking when we introduce lean to them as a process or through a process or as a set of tools? Have you asked your salespeople how much time they spend in front of a customer? I would venture to say that there is not one more important indicator of increased sales than face time. It reminds me of this comment. Don't think of what sales can do for lean. Rather, think of what lean can do for sales. After all, sales are the gateway to value, the gateway to the customer. Teams are facing new challenges that are solved by collective thought. This collective thinking needs to be done internally, externally, and across organizations. It will not come naturally. It needs to be created and learned. Paraphrasing a message from Jim Highsmith when discussing adaptive leadership, plans evolve from what we know. SDCA. Adaptions are responses to learning what we don't know. PDCA. Flexibility is the response to changes we expect in the future. EDCA. Lean marketing must encompass all three dimensions: standard work, continuous improvement, and exploration. Your competitive landscape is changing from a defined design build to one based on adaptation. The cost of adaptation and the cost of integrating new products and services are spiraling downward. Great products and services are no longer created. They simply evolve. What is the business case for lean in sales and marketing? A lean mindset creates the ability to learn from your customer at a faster rate than your competition. It is your competitive advantage. Thanks, everyone. And if you have any questions, please follow up with me on business901.com, and I invite you to join us at the Lean Marketing Lab.